from the footballgameplan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook. Bring you our FBS Independence Week 1 Game of the Week preview between the BYU Cougars and the Virginia Cavaliers. Now let's take a look at some keys to victory for both teams, starting with BYU.
When you look at the Cougars in this ball game, you want to start on the defensive side of the football. You look at linebacker Spencer Hatley, Bronson Kafusi, the defensive lineman, as well as Remington Peck, and how well they can do versus the running game of Virginia. They have to slow down what Virginia brings to the table running the football in order to have a shot. Now on offense, you look at what they do in the backfield. Very impressed with last year's freshman phenom Jamal Williams. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do this year as a sophomore. And overall, BYU plays with great intensity on defense as well as great intensity up front along that offensive line. That can carry them a long way this season. Now let's move over to Virginia in this ball game. Consistency is the key for the Cavaliers. The talent is there on that roster. Mike London has done a great job recruiting, and I'm a big fan of the versatility of their running backs. You look at Kevin Parks in the backfield, and keep an eye on true freshman Taquan Mizell. This guy has a lot of speed, probably the fastest guy on that Virginia roster, and how they utilize these backs this week versus BYU could be a major X factor in how they win this ball game. You got to get those backs out there in space, take advantage of the over-aggressiveness of that BYU defense. The X factor for BYU will be how well they control the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. We know defensively they can get after the quarterback with those outside backers, but their defensive line is very stout, and on offense, they're solid from tackle to tackle, and they really fire off the football in the running game. The X factor for the Cavaliers will be quarterback David Watford and how well he has improved since the last time we saw him play as a freshman. And this is a guy that took a red shirt last year. He's ready to go. He provides that mobility and also is very accurate throwing on the run. Now here's some coaching points for both teams in this matchup. For BYU, you want to make the passing game work. We know about the excellent receivers they have in Cody Hoffman, Ross Poe and company. They have very good tight ends, but the quarterback play has to improve. That's Taysom Hill as a sophomore. Can he get it done? He's going to have to get it done this week versus the Cavaliers. And the big battle also will take place in the secondary. How well can they match up versus the speed and athleticism of the Virginia wide receivers? That's been a knock against BYU for a long time. You can spread these guys out and take advantage of the individual matchups in their secondary. They're going to have to win that battle. And Cody Hoffman versus Demetrius Nelson, that's a premier matchup. Two pro prospects. Can't wait to see those guys go at it this weekend. And for Virginia, you look at the linebackers communicating in the passing game. That's going to be huge. We know BYU loves to send those big-time wide receivers on crossers. You have to be able to communicate, find your guy, pass him off if it's zone. Just have to be able to communicate so everyone knows what's going on. You have to put David Watford on the move. Like I said, move the pocket for this guy. He's very accurate on the run. And tempo, tempo, tempo. If you're Virginia, you want to dictate the pace of the game. You want to force BYU to play fast. That plays right into your advantage. Now here's some pro prospects you want to keep an eye on in this ball game. For BYU, they have one of the best linebackers in the country in Kyle Van Noy. Just a big fan of his playmaking ability at 6'3", 235 pounds. And Cody Hoffman is also a big-time receiver at 6'4", 215 pounds. That's not afraid to go across the middle. For the Cavaliers, you look at left tackle Morgan Moses at 6'6", 325 pounds. When you watch him play, watch his footwork. This guy is going to be an excellent tackle prospect at the next level. And Demetrius Nicholson has been a stud since he stepped foot on campus. He's a junior, 5'11", 170, has lockdown capabilities. Gordon Hudson was an outstanding tight end for the BYU Cougars during their heyday in the 1980s. Here's a guy that was a two-time All-WAC performer and a two-time consensus All-American. His play led him to be selected to the College Football Hall of Fame. One of the best defensive backs I've ever seen play was Anthony Poindexter for Virginia from 1995 to 1998. He was a consensus All-American twice in 1997 as well as 1998. He's one of the best football players in school history. This will be a tight ball game, but I like the Cougars in this matchup. All things being equal, I can trust BYU's front seven on defense. They were stout last year. They can run the football with Jamal Williams. I think they do a great job going on the road and knocking off the Cavaliers.